Coach Greg, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you advanced fat burning strategies and techniques to get you the most shredded you've ever been. Remember, these are advanced techniques. It's not for people dieting for the first time. It's people looking to get truly shredded. I'm talking single-digit body fat. And so we're going to be going over into specific plans, what you should be taking, what you should be doing, what time, what to do exactly so that you know what to do to get shredded. So not everyone is going to agree with this, but these are in fact techniques that I have used in the past. And the first one is doing cardio first thing in the morning. And in order to do this, especially when you've been dieting for a long time, you might not have a lot of energy. You're going to be doing a minimum of 60 minutes of cardio first thing in the morning. That is in fact a lot. And it's going to be at zone 2. And so what I suggest, especially if you're tired, is you get up in the morning, you take your fat burner. It's right by your bed. You swallow it faster than last time and you go right back to sleep. You don't set the alarm and you let it wake you up. As soon as it wakes up, you're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. You can then go right to the gym. You can do cardio immediately. Preferably, the cardio machine is at your own house. If it's not at your own house, you don't have to get up and go back to sleep. You can simply take your fat burner and drive right to the gym. By the time you get there, it's going to be kicked in. Remember, this is advanced fat burning techniques. I'm not suggesting that a regular person just start doing this. But if you're a bodybuilder and you're getting shredded, you're perhaps not even sleeping enough, you have to do something. And so in doing this, you are prepped. You are primed. Now, you get up on the treadmill, the bike, whatever you're doing, and you consume 20 to 30 grams of essential amino acids or BCAAs, or at least some protein right at the start or during your cardiovascular session. The reason you're doing this is because you don't want to lose muscle, and by consuming protein right away, it's your first opportunity for muscle protein synthesis to occur. And so you could, for example, be consuming a couple scoops of Perrylite mixed in with your water, and you're simply consuming this while you're on the bike doing your cardio. Now remember, it's very important that you're doing zone 2 cardio, not zone 1 and certainly not 3, 4, and 5. If you go too hard, it's going to diminish your ability to build and retain muscle, especially on a diet when in a calorie deficit. So zone 5 would be sprinting, HIIT cardio, and so on. Zone 4, you're at the limit, you're at your anaerobic threshold, you're pushing so hard you could barely talk. Zone 3, it's still very hard. You would have a difficult time carrying on a conversation. This is simply too hard. Remember, it's first thing in the morning, you're tired, you've been prepping for a long time. You're consuming some Perrylite and some water. You don't have a lot of energy, and you're doing this pretty much every single day. You need to keep it easy. Now, not too easy. For example, zone 1. This is oftentimes, for example, when people sit on a recumbent bike. They're laying back and they're pedaling. You're not burning any calories. It's almost useless. And just going outside for a walk, for example, you get up and you say, oh, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk around the block. It's not hard enough. You're not burning off enough calories. It's not worth it. You may as well lay in bed and keep sleeping. When you're doing your cardio, it needs to be worth your time. You need to be burning calories. Zone 2 is the exact level of intensity that you need to do. What exactly is zone 2? It should feel like you could do this for hours. It's a pace that's not easy, but it shouldn't be so hard that you couldn't keep it up for at least 2 hours. You could talk, you could watch Coach Greg and chill, you can learn, you could read a book. It's a pace that's not easy, but it's not so hard that you can't use your brain. When you're going too hard, you can't concentrate on reading. Imagine you're studying for your science exam while doing zone 4 cardio. It's not happening. But with zone 2, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And so I suggest you use this time because you're going to be doing a lot of cardio to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. What work do you do? Are you a school teacher? You can correct exams. Are you a student? Read your books, study. And if you're not any of these things, use these times to scroll the internet. What are you doing on social media? At least do this while doing cardio. If you're going to waste time using social media, at least do it while doing your cardio. Whatever YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok videos you need to watch, you can do it at that time. And don't forget, I am on Snapchat. I have a channel. Please go and check it out. Getting millions and millions of views. People loving that channel. And so please check me out on Snapchat. And so by keeping your mind occupied, you're reading books, watching YouTube videos, this cardio at zone 2, it's going to fly by like that. Before you know it, you've done an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. And remember, if you feel like you can't do an hour, you're thinking, oh my God, it's a whole hour? How can you do that much cardio? You're just going too hard. If you can't do zone 2 cardio for an hour, there's something wrong with your diet. There's something wrong with your training. You need to switch things up. And remember, you should be doing year-round cardio. It shouldn't be you start a diet and all of a sudden you begin with 1 hour of cardio. You ease into this, you go harder than last time. It's called progressive overload. Now, one of the reasons I suggest you go for so long at one time, for an hour, for example, is when you first start doing cardio, the calories that are being burned, it's mostly carbohydrates. As the time goes longer, you begin burning more and more fat. And so, for example, by 20 minutes to an hour, you're perhaps burning 80 to 90% of your calories as fat. If you're doing mostly HIIT cardio, for example, sprinting, you're burning a much greater percentage of carbohydrates. But rather than that, we want to rely on burning fat for fuel. This allows our muscle glycogen stores to remain higher, and majority of the fat that you're burning is actually fat. It's much better to burn fat versus carbs if you're trying to burn fat. At the end of the day, it's still calories in, calories out. But if you're burning mostly fat while doing cardio, it's going to prevent you from being as hungry later in the day and allow you to stay on your diet. If you're doing mostly HIIT cardio and burning off a lot of carbs and training very hard, you're going to get hungrier later in the day. You're going to have more ghrelin that's released that makes you hungrier. And not only that, it's going to make you sore. It's much harder to recover from more intense bouts of cardio than it is from zone 2 cardio. If you're doing an hour of cardio, perhaps it's on an incline treadmill, and the next day your legs are sore from doing that cardio, you're impeding your body's ability to maximally build muscle. You need to go at zone 2. You need to progressive overload so that you can do this. You need to start out slower. And so I recommend in the off season, you do year-round cardio. That's why when you start doing an hour or more, it's relatively easy. And if you have no energy during this hour of cardio in the morning, remember, you're probably taking fat burners. If you don't have the energy, you need to eat more carbs. You need some carbs to stoke the fire. Think of it, you're trying to burn fat, but think of the carbs as the kindling, the wood. And remember, this is for people who are not keto dieters. I'm not a fan of a keto diet. I believe that it's much better to have carbs in your diet. And so if you're doing your cardio and at minute 40, you suddenly feel like you're going hypo, you need to eat more carbs. In that case, you could, for example, consume a Seco protein bar. Remember, these have 20 grams of protein. They're low in calories, and they do have some carbs for some energy. And so by eating that, it'll give you the energy to continue to push harder. Remember, it's zone 2 cardio. You're relying primarily on fat for the energy source, and so you shouldn't need a lot of carbs to fuel this workout. But you do need some carbs, and so if you feel you're going hypo, please eat a little bit. A couple hundred calories should suffice. Now remember, following this bout of cardio, it's very important that you eat. You need to eat immediately. Because you did cardio first thing in the morning, you need to eat right now. And essentially, there's no such thing as an anabolic window, the time period you have to eat right after exercise. But if you just did cardio and your glycogen stores are greatly reduced, you need to refuel them. You need to consume both carbs, protein, and essential fats. And so don't be scared to have this as one of the biggest, if not the biggest meal of the day. As a rule of thumb, I would say a minimum of about 1/4 of your calories for the day be consumed by the time you've eaten breakfast if you've done an hour of cardio or more. And so if you're on a 2,000 calorie diet, you should be consuming at least 500 calories following this exercise. You might be thinking, no, I want to eat less calories. I want to stretch it further. If you do that, you're diminishing your ability to build muscle. It's not just about getting shredded, it's about keeping the muscle that you have. Consuming these calories, you know none of it's turning to fat. You're going to eat them, it's immediately going to fuel your muscles, it's going to convert to muscle glycogen and fuel the weightlifting workout that you're going to do later in the day. And so when do I suggest you do your workout? Well, for me and for many people, I suggest you do it later in the day. Once you've had several meals in your body, perhaps 3 or even 4 meals, and only have 1 meal left after doing your weights workout. If you're doing your weights closer to 4 or 5 o'clock and you're going to bed, for example, at midnight, you should have 2 meals consumed after this. But for me, I really enjoyed lifting weights in the early evening. Go to the gym after perhaps meal 4. You've eaten your biggest meal perhaps of the day, aside from perhaps meal 1, and you've given yourself as much energy as possible in order to fuel that workout. You go and train with weights, and of course, you train the same way that you did in the off season, because the way you build muscle in the off season is the way you keep it when you diet. And so I'm not going to go into all the details on how to train exactly. Of course, I have over 3,000 videos. You can watch other videos on how to do this. And so following this weight workout, you then do your cardio. And so if you're early on in your dieting, I suggest you do not do morning cardio whatsoever. Now, if your coach is telling you to do this, of course you can do that, but you can use my strategies that I've added to help you with your own coaching. And so following this weight workout, you're doing cardio, and the reason for that is because following this cardiovascular workout, you're then going to go home and have your last meal. And so as described in your morning cardio, you're going to do zone 2 cardio. Not zone 1, not too easy, and not 3, 4, 5. It's just too difficult. Do not do HIIT cardio. I know that many coaches are going to suggest to do this. ask you, if they tell you to do this, you may want to reconsider, perhaps get a different coach. How can you possibly do hard sets of squats, leg presses, and so on, and expect to be doing sprints on a bike or running up a hill? It's too difficult. You can't recover from both. You're going to overtrain. Let soreness be your guide. If you're sore in the morning, if you're feeling like you got sore from doing your cardio, you're doing your cardio too hard, you need to go slower. I normally say go harder than last time, but if you're sore, please go easier than last time. And so how many calories can you expect to burn during this zone 2 cardio? You should be able to burn 3 to 4 times your body weight per hour. And so let's say you're 150 pounds. You should be able to burn 3 to 4 times that, which is 450 to 600 calories in an hour. That should be your zone 2. If it isn't, if you can't burn 3 times your body weight in calories per hour, you need to get in better shape. You need to do more cardio, because when you're in better shape, you burn more calories per hour. Does it not make sense? The better shape you are, the more calories you burn whenever you do cardio, because you're going at a faster pace. If 2 people weigh 200 pounds, one is going at 3 miles per hour and one's going at 4 miles per hour. The person going at 4 miles per hour is going to burn more calories than one going at 3. But it feels the same to both. And so oftentimes people say, how much cardio are you doing? Oh, I'm doing 60 minutes of cardio 6 days a week. Yeah, well, how many calories are you burning? If you're using the recumbent bike and you're going at 100 watts, you're only burning 360 calories an hour. Is that really just as good as the person who says, oh, I'm doing 30 minutes, but they're burning 400 calories? They might burn more calories in 30 minutes than you do in an hour. It depends on the pace that you're going at, but you should not simply just go hard. Coach Greg said I should burn at least 3 times the calories as my body weight per hour. Well, if you're doing zone 3 and 4 cardio to do that, it's going to prevent you from building muscle. And many of you are thinking, that's easy. I burn 1,000 calories per hour on that stepper where I'm leaning my dear life. I'm hanging on it and I'm just walking. It doesn't count. If you're holding on to the machine, you're hanging for dear life on the treadmill. It's pulling you and you're going at 3 miles an hour. Oh, I burned so many calories. No, you didn't. The treadmill said you did, but that's not the calories you burn. Remember, most machines are overestimating the calories you're burning by about 30%. So just because it says you burn 1,000 calories doesn't mean you actually did. The only way to truly know how many calories you burned is if the machine is accurate and it tells you how many watts you're producing. Every watt that you do per hour, you multiply that by 3.6. And so if it says 100 watts times 3.6, that's 360. If you're going at 200 watts times 3.6, it's 720. And so oftentimes people greatly overestimate how many calories they're burning. They're perhaps walking 2.5 miles on the treadmill and they have it on 3% and they have their arms hanging on. Maybe you're only burning 2 calories per pound of body weight per hour. It's not enough. You're doing an hour of cardio, you only burnt 400 calories. It's not enough. If you're trying to get truly shredded as fast as possible, for most people, you're going to need about a 1,000 calorie deficit per day. That will equate to a 7,000 calorie weekly deficit, which we know there's 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat, means you're going to burn off 2 pounds of fat per week. That is a lot. That is very quick. For a 200-pound person, that means you're dropping 1% body fat a week. If you're at 15% body fat, in 10 weeks, you could be at 5% body fat. That's truly shredded. And remember, in your off season, 15% body fat, that is what I recommend. Some people could go as high as 20, some perhaps as low as 10. And so if you're one of these individuals who's leaner than 15%, clearly you can go easier. Perhaps a 500 calorie daily deficit, more than enough. You lose 0.5% of body fat a week, which is 1 pound, and that's all you need to do to get truly shredded in under a couple of months. And so the way I suggest to do this, to burn off those 1,000 calories a day, is to burn off half of those calories from doing cardio. And so in this case, it means burning off 500 calories. If you're 166 pounds and you're going at a steady rate, not that hard, 3 calories per pound, you are going to burn off 500 calories per hour. And so 1 hour of cardio, you're burning off 500 calories. The other 500 calorie deficit, it comes from a reduction in your diet. Say you're eating 3,000 calories a day in your off season. You now eat 2,500 calories a day. You add in 1 hour of cardio. That equates to 1,000 calories burned. You can, of course, choose to just eat 2,000 calories and do no cardio, or you could choose to do 2 hours of cardio and eat 3,000 calories. But I believe that reducing calories as well as doing cardio at the same time to be the best combination of both. Now, remember, at the start of your diet, you're going to be burning approximately 2 pounds of fat per week by doing this 1,000 calorie daily deficit. But as the weeks go by, your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, it's going to go down. And what is NEAT? It's the calories you burn when you're not exercising. Like just sitting here, driving, perhaps watching TV. As you diet down, your body is trying to conserve energy. It fidgets less, it moves less, you have less pop, oomph in your step. And so the calories you're burning throughout the day, it goes down. And if you do in fact lose muscle, your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, it also can go down. And so to make up for this, you can do one of two things. You can reduce your calories even further. If you're eating 2,500 calories, you can reduce it to 2,400, then 2,300, 2,200, or you could increase your length of cardio. Instead of doing an hour, you do an hour and 10, an hour and 20, an hour and 30. Remember, do not do more than 90 minutes of cardio at once. That becomes far too long. Better at that point to spread it out. And so, for example, you could get up in the morning and do an hour of cardio, and following your weights workout, you could follow that up with 30 minutes of cardio. And following this cardio in the evening, you follow that up with, for example, protein ice cream or a very large salad, and you must consume at least 50 to 100 grams of protein in this meal. If you finish your cardio at 8 or 9 o'clock at night and you're consuming your last meal after this, you need to supply it with plenty of protein. In your salad, you could consume egg whites, chicken breasts, beef, whatever, but you need to have plenty of protein to last you throughout the night. While you're sleeping, your body is going to be using this protein to build muscle throughout the evening. You want and need the building blocks, the amino acids, in order to build and repair muscle. So do not skimp on the protein. If you're in a severe calorie-restricted diet, you're trying to lose 2 pounds of fat a week, you should be consuming a minimum of 1 to perhaps even 1.2 grams of protein per body weight. And why is that? Well, when you're in a calorie deficit, some of the protein that you're eating, it's going to be used for energy. Not all of that protein can be used to build muscle. And so by having even more protein, you eliminate the possibility that you're going to run out of building blocks. Imagine having a bunch of carpenters ready to build a house, but you don't have the nails and the wood. How are they going to work? And so you need to have those amino acids, and you need to eat plenty of protein. I suggest eating 5 protein-rich meals per day. That will allow you 5 opportunities for muscle protein synthesis to occur and allow you to maximally build muscle. If, however, you did your cardio and your training earlier in the day, for example, perhaps it was at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you then eat your protein and carbs, fats, after your workout, and then you have another protein-rich meal before bed. It's very important. We're not trying to fast. You don't want to go 12 or 16 hours a day without eating. This is not the diet you should be following if you're trying to get truly shredded, especially if you're a bodybuilder. If you're just the average person and 28% body fat for men, 40% body fat for women, of course you can fast. You have plenty of energy. You have plenty of food to go around. But if you're somebody that's trying to get truly shredded, you have to be much more diligent and persistent with your workouts and your dieting and training. One more thing, while doing your cardio, if you notice that you're getting tired, it's okay to slow down. Rather than doing an hour of cardio at, for example, 3 miles an hour, if for the first 30 minutes you're going along at 3 and you're feeling great, then you're getting tired, it's okay to lower it to 2.8, 2.7, a little bit easier. Rather than doing 60 minutes, do 63 minutes. Is that really a big deal? So it's better to go a little bit slower and extend the workout a little bit than to try to push yourself, because you perhaps are then going into zone 3. You don't want to go into zone 3 cardio. It's going to make you more tired, going to be harder to recover from. And so please go easier if you find a cardio to be too difficult. And you may in fact experience this. When you get down to single-digit body fat, you're not going to have the energy that you once had. When I get under, for example, 7-8% body fat, much more difficult for me to push as hard as when I'm a little bit heavy. Everyone is different. Some people perform optimally at 8%, some people at 7%, some people have to be at 15%. It depends on your genetics, depend on your individual differences. Now, as far as the supplements, the drugs go, according to this, try to save them for the latest time possible. The longer you wait, the better. I'm talking about things like Clen, T3, perhaps ADD medications. Not going to get into all those details, but any of those more hardcore fat burners, and even the over-counter ones like G-Shred, you should be saving these for the latest time possible. At the start of the diet, you should be able to do this with ease, with nothing. And so the longer you wait, the better. If you're trying to do a bodybuilding competition, you're at 6% body fat, you're going to do whatever it takes. I'm not going to say to do it or not do it. Just never break the law and only do things with the advice and consent from your own doctor. And of course, I know you're going to be using GO2 Max throughout your diet from start to finish and year-round, because why would you not? Have you not read the evidence? Have you not seen Andrew Huberman on the Joe Rogan podcast and others expressing just how effective NMN really is in the real world with double-blind, placebo-controlled human studies, not rat studies, showing just how effective this is? And it's not just for couch potatoes, but elite-level runners. This gives you more energy, more endurance, greater recovery. And what do you think you need the most when you're on a diet? You need the energy to do the cardio. This is a must, in my opinion, the number one supplement you should be taking on a diet. And remember, that's ahead of taking things like G-Shred, which is literally made to help you burn fat. I truly believe GO2 Max more beneficial, more important than G-Shred or any other fat burner out there. And I'm talking about Clen T3, everything. And remember, this 100% legal. You're not failing a WADA test. You're allowed to use this in drug-tested sporting competitions, and the research shows it works. And so there you have it, my COP advanced training tips on how to truly get shredded, single-digit body fat, bodybuilding competition, trying to get shredded for summer photo shoots, and so on. Please let me know in the comment section, what do you think about my advice? If you want more videos like this, like the ones I did in the past, please comment in the comment section. Say, hey, I want more advice on dieting, training, on how to get shredded. If you want more advice on performance enhancing drugs. If that's the kind of content you want, please let me know. Of course, the views will tell the story. If this video gets hundreds of thousands of views, of course I'm going to do more. If no one's watching it, then I'm not going to do it. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like the video if you in fact liked it. Don't forget the bell button to get notified if you in fact want more videos like this. Don't forget to watch one of those two bloops. And of course, the cookbooks, the training books, the Circle Diet book, My Life's Work, How to Lose Weight, Keep It Off for the Rest of Your Life, training plans by me and my team, the Harder Than Last Time clothing line. And of course, the supplements, the Seco bars, creatine, beta-alanine, pre-workout prompt, stim, the G-Shred, the Delta Sleep. We've got so many supplements at my website. You have to check it out. Remember, if you got no money, free diet and training program. It's close to 50 pages. We got 300,000 newsletter subscribers. Head over to the website, become a newsletter subscriber, get the free diet and training program. And until next time, I am out.